trying to fight back here. He's able to counter.
Oh no! Oh no! Jey Uso just speared his cousin, Roman Reigns.
Bloodline fractured after Crown Jewel. The bloodline is crumbling, and we just witnessed it happen in real time at Crown Jewel. Roman Reigns lost to Bronson Reed, Jey Uso accidentally speared his own cousin through a table, and the aftermath was messier than a Thanksgiving dinner where someone brings up politics. Welcome back to the Wrestling Hidden Insight, and if you thought the bloodline drama couldn't get any more intense, buckle up because what happened in Perth might be the beginning of the end for the most dominant faction in modern WWE history. Let's set the scene. Crown Jewel. Roman Reigns vs. Bronson Reed in an Australian street fight. The match was already chaotic with interference from Bron Breakker, the Usos running down to help Roman, bodies flying everywhere, and then it happened. Jey Uso went for a spear on Reed, Reed moved, and Jey speared Roman Reigns through a table instead. One tsunami from Reed later, and Roman Reigns just suffered one of the most shocking losses of his career. But the match ending was just the beginning of the real drama. After Reed and the Vision walked up the ramp celebrating their victory, the cameras stayed on the ring where Roman was struggling to sit up. He was hurt, he was frustrated, and he had some words for his cousins. And let me tell you, those words cut deep. Roman looked at Jimmy and Jey and basically said, "You messed up, you cost me this match, and I told you not to interfere." The whole stadium started chanting "You effed up" at the Usos, which had to feel amazing, and Roman just laid into them about how the whole world thinks he can't do anything on his own. And here's where it gets interesting. Jimmy tried to explain. He reminded Roman that they interfered because they were trying to help him, trying to protect him, trying to have his back like family is supposed to do. But Roman wasn't trying to hear it. He condemned their actions, told them their help wasn't needed, and then rolled out of the ring and walked up the ramp by himself, leaving his cousins in the ring, leaving his family behind, making it crystal clear that he's done with them trying to save him. But the moment that really hit different was what happened between Jey and Jimmy after Roman left. Jey was sitting near the ropes with his wrists unwrapped, jaw clenched, staring off into the distance like he was processing everything that just went down. And then he exploded. He shouted at Jimmy that Roman only does him, that no matter what, Roman is always going to be Roman. He only do him. That line right there tells you everything you need to know about where Jey's head is at right now. He's realizing that no matter how much they sacrifice, no matter how much they try to help, Roman is always going to put himself first. Jey got up and left the ring, leaving Jimmy standing there alone, literally and metaphorically trying to clean up the pieces of their fractured family. And that image of Jimmy standing in that ring by himself after both Roman and Jey walked away? That's going to be one of those moments we remember when we look back at how the bloodline fell apart. Because it's not just about one bad night or one mistake. This has been building for weeks, and Crown Jewel was the match that lit the fuse. Let's rewind a bit and talk about what led to this moment, because context is everything. On Raw over the past few weeks, Jey has been changing. He's been more aggressive, more intense, more willing to cross lines he wouldn't have crossed before. He's been taking on guys like LA Knight and CM Punk with this new edge to him, and Roman has been in his ear the whole time acting like a mentor, giving him advice, telling him how to navigate these waters. But here's the thing. Roman's advice has been turning Jey into a version of himself that Jimmy doesn't recognize. And Jimmy has been vocal about not liking what he's seeing. Roman even showed up on the most recent episode of Raw before Crown Jewel to specifically tell the Usos not to interfere in his match against Reed. He looked them both in the eyes and said, "I got this, stay out of it, I don't need your help." And what did they do? They ignored him. They ran down to that ring anyway because they saw Roman getting destroyed by Reed and Breakker, and family instinct kicked in. But by interfering, by not listening to Roman's instructions, they gave him ammunition to blame them for the loss. And Roman being Roman, he's absolutely going to use that ammunition. The "you effed up" chants from the Perth crowd had to sting for Jey especially, because he's been on this journey of trying to prove himself, trying to step out of Roman's shadow, trying to be his own man. And then one mistake, one mistimed spear, and suddenly he's the reason Roman lost. That's going to eat at him. That's going to fuel whatever comes next. Because Jey is at a crossroads right now. He can either accept that Roman is always going to manipulate him and stay in that toxic cycle, or he can finally break free for good. And let's talk about Roman's reaction for a second, because it's very telling. Instead of saying, "Hey, I appreciate you guys trying to help even though it didn't work out," or "Man, that was just bad luck," Roman immediately went into blame mode. He made it about himself, about how the world thinks he can't do things on his own, about how their help made him look weak. That's not the response of someone who values family. That's the response of someone whose ego is so massive that even a well-intentioned mistake becomes a personal attack. Roman has spent years building this tribal chief persona, This idea that he's the head of the table, the leader, the one everyone should acknowledge. But that persona requires control. It requires everyone around him to fall in line and do exactly what he says when he says it. And the moment someone deviates from the plan, even if it's to help him, he sees it as disrespect. That's not leadership. That's dictatorship. And Jey is finally seeing it for what it is. Jimmy is caught in the middle of all this, and honestly, I feel for him. He's trying to hold the family together. He's trying to support both his cousin and his twin brother. But you can only play peacemaker for so long before you have to pick a side. And based on what we saw at Crown Jewel, that decision is coming sooner rather than later. When Jey walked away and left Jimmy standing there alone, that was symbolic. Jimmy is going to have to choose between his loyalty to Roman and his loyalty to his brother. And that choice is going to define the next chapter of this story. If you made it this far, thank you for being here for this breakdown. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because here at the Wrestling Hidden Insight, we're posting multiple videos every day with all the latest wrestling news and analysis. Drop a comment below and tell me where you think this Bloodline story is headed. Is Jey finally going to break free from Roman? Is Jimmy going to have to choose between them? And can this family ever be repaired? Share this video with anyone who's been following this storyline, because the conversation is just getting started. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay locked to the Wrestling Hidden Insight, where we break down the moments that matter most in wrestling.